So you plan to work 200 hours this summer mowing lawns and babysitting. You need to make a total of $1,300. Babysitting pays $6 per hour, and lawn mowing pays $8 per hour. Now, how many hours should you work at each job? So I know how much you guys love these word problems, but it is something you need to be able to do. So the first thing we need to do is we need to figure out what kind of topics are there, and I want you to do this every single time. So we're looking at topics, so I'm going to label that topics. And one of the topics that I see here is the amount of money that you're going to make. And the other topic I see here is the number of hours you're working. So you're working 200 hours. Let's just say now we have to label our variables and what our variables stand for. And it's best to use X and Y, because if you're graphing or something like that, you need to be able to use X and Y. So let's just say that X is the number of hours you're babysitting. And Y is the number of hours you're mowing lawn. So now we need to figure out what's our equation going to be. You're working 200 hours, so we can say for the hours one, the number of hours you're babysitting plus the number of hours you're mowing equals 200. That's our easy one, and usually there's a really easy one where it's just X plus Y equals. Now the other one is the amount of money you're making. For babysitting, babysitting pays $6 per hour. So you're going to want to take 6 times the number of hours you're babysitting. Plus, mowing lawn pays $8 an hour, so you're going to want to take 8 times the number of hours you're mowing lawn. Now that needs to total up, you wanted to make $1,300. Alright, so if this was yesterday's video, what we would be doing is we would be graphing these two things and seeing where they cross and answering how many hours are we going to babysit and how many hours are we going to mow to get exactly $1,300. The problem is, look at these numbers, 200 for a y-intercept, and then we would have to go ahead and solve this one, and we'd move the 6x over, and we'd divide by 8, and we get these horrible numbers. Graphing is really not a great way to actually do this. The reason we teach you graphing is because sometimes you need to be able to graph and see the whole picture, but also because when you're first learning about this, graphing helps you understand what's going on. So today we're actually moving into the subject of substitution, and the reason we use substitution is because graphing sucks, basically. And so we want to graph, or we don't want to have to graph, we want to have other methods. So today we're going to talk about substitution. You'll remember there's also elimination. So here's the idea of substitution. We're going to substitute, just like we've talked about before. The word substitute means you're going to replace. Okay, so substitution, you're going to replace a variable. Okay, what we have going on right now is there's too many variables. We have both x's and we have both y's. There's too many variables going on. So we're going to substitute. In order to substitute, you need to know who's going in there, what's going in that place. So I take and I'm looking at our variables. We have 3x, we have 4y, we have x, and we have 2y. We have a clean variable. X is our clean variable. There is no number in front of x. So that's the one that I want to use for my substitution because it'll be really easy to solve for x. So you'll see here I have x plus 2y equals 2. I can solve for x real easy just by moving the 2y over, so I subtract 2y. So we get that x equals 2 minus 2y. Now I'm going to take that, substitution, I'm going to take that x equals this. Well, so does this x also equals that. And so I'm going to substitute it. Instead of this x, I'm going to put 2 minus 2y. I'm going to take the 2 minus 2y, put it in for x. And the reason I picked this one up here is because I used this one to do my substitution. You don't want to go back into it. You want to go into the other one, which is why I do this arrow. This arrow helps me see which equation I used. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to plug in my substitution. Instead of x, I'm going to replace it with 2 minus 2y plus 4y equals negative 4. I do my multiplication. So we have 6 minus 6y plus 4y equals negative 4. And now you just do your math. I can combine like terms. So I got minus 2y equals negative 4. Subtract 6. So negative 2y equals negative 10. Divide by negative 2. and y, negative 2, y equals 5. Now that you know y equals 5, you can go back up to your substitution and just plug in 5 for y. So we've got x equals 2 minus 2 times 5 equals 2 minus 10 equals negative 8. So x is negative 8, y is 5, and that is our solution. Okay, this is actually a good time for you guys to try and do these yourself. So it's a good idea to hit pause at this point, solve it yourself, then hit play. You can even put me on double time and see what I get. So once again, I'm looking for a clean variable. I have all these variables here. The cleanest one I see is this y right here, because all I'll have to do is get rid of the negative. So I'm going to draw my arrow from that one. I have 2x minus y equals 13. Move my 2x over. I get negative y equals 13 minus 2x. To get rid of my negative y, I go divide by negative 1. Everything gets divided by negative 1. Y equals negative 13 plus 2x. And now that's my substitution. I'm going to take this as my substitution, and I'm going to plug it in for the y on the bottom. And we're going to be very careful with our math. So I'm taking this and plugging it in for this. So I rewrite it. I've got 2x plus 2 times, and now I'm going to replace the y with negative 13 plus 2x. And you need to be using your parentheses. So we have 2x minus 26 plus 4x equals negative 10. Combine my like terms. I've got 6x minus 26 equals negative 10. Add 26. 6x equals 16. I feel like I did something wrong here. I don't know, maybe you guys can tell me where it's wrong. Divide by 6, I'll just keep going. X equals, now if I reduce this, 2 goes in there 8, 2 goes in there 3, so I get 8/3. Sometimes you do get fractions, it sucks, but that's what it is. Okay, now I'm going to take that 8/3. I got that x equals 8/3, so I'm going to plug it in for x back up here. That's the easiest place to do it. So y equals negative 13 plus 2 times 8/3 equals negative 13 plus 16/3. Ew. Ew, ew, ew. Alright. This is over 1 multiplied by 3. I really think I must have made a mistake somewhere. So we got negative 39 over 3 plus 16 over 3 gives me negative 23 over 3. That's my y value. So x is 8/3, y is negative 23 over 3. That is pretty darn gross. There is my answer. So it's all the same thing over and over and over again. It looks like we're done with this. I don't have any more slides. So good luck. We're going to keep practicing, and hopefully you guys do well.